Hello, Let members and Steins fans, there's your one here, and well, episode 3 of Steins 0 released yesterday, and I did what I always do, so I watched the anime, played the visual novel at the same time, and today we're going to talk about what was different, what I liked, and all that kind of stuff. So, cue the intro. Alright, so episode 3 started off with Mayuri being outside, walking outside with her friends, with Fubuki, Kaede, and Yuki. There's a few differences compared to the visual novel. So the first one is that this actually happens during night, when it's dark outside, instead of being in daylight. Now they're also at a different place, a different location. And not only that, but Yuki's clothing is actually different. She has a different outfit. It is still styled like her visual novel outfit, but it looks differently. And we have the scene where Fubuki hugs Mayuri instead of her just grabbing her breasts from behind like she did in the visual novel. So that's kind of different. Still goes in the same direction though. And we still have the same issue. It's not really an issue, but we still have the same thing happening that they did in episode 1, which is a complete just rework of the structure of the stories. So things happen before they happen in the visual novel, things happen after they're supposed to happen in the visual novel, and it's just a little bit weird. So after this scene in the visual novel, we actually have this scene where you see Daru and Suzuha in the lab talking together, and then Yuki comes in and then Suzuha hides, but we already saw that in episode 1. So that already happened. Now in the anime, you have some new scenes that actually didn't happen in the visual novel. So you have Okabe walking inside and Kurusu calling and all that, and you have Okabe just showing her around and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't really happen in the visual novel. Yes, you have this scene where Okabe's outside, he's talking to Kurusu, and then Mayuri comes and then they're talking to Mayuri, but that doesn't really happen like it happens in the anime. Now in the visual novel, there's a lot of stuff that they just cut out or maybe store for later due to the structure change. But we have Okabe going to the shrine and being messaged or called by Kurusu, and he gets this little PTSD attack, and then he goes back. Afterwards, he meets Kaede, he meets Yuki, and they talk about who Okabe's girlfriend is. He gets another panic attack. It's all okay. After that, we have some scenes of Feire's on the radio building with the time machine. We see that in the anime too. It's a little bit different. She doesn't have like the food and all that, but that's okay. We also have the scene of Okabe being in the same room with Maho and Leskinen, and they're talking stuff, and then they go downstairs and they get attacked in their car and at the parking and all that. Spoilers. That doesn't happen in the anime yet. So they skipped out on all of that. Now there's the part with the party, the Christmas party. Now this Christmas party was actually really fun to look at. It is certainly one of my favorite things in this anime so far. There are still a lot of differences compared to the visual novel. For example, the attack of Suzuha, that happens because of firework, I think, instead of the entire other thing. We also see Maho dressed up in her jacket at the start, which is also different from the visual novel because you don't have that jacket in the visual novel, it doesn't exist. And later on she also dresses up in a Santa costume, which also doesn't happen in the visual novel. In the anime, they add a lot of extra scenes, a lot of extra things in the party that you don't see in the visual novel. Like most things of that Leskinen does, the photography, the oh you're a maid girl thingy. That was all. It's all fun as hell. I love it. It just doesn't happen in the visual novel. Now later in the party, we have a lot of scenes that we can trace back to the visual novel that actually happen on different times. So for example, when you see Suzuha eating with Yuki together, this actually happened way before in the first scene that we see Yuki and Suzuha together, and also the dinner they have together, also different stuff, the different clothing. I have to say though, I really like the scene of Leskinen with the Rukako was sexy and Okabe just dago toko da. That made me chuckle a little bit.
しかし美しい女性ばかりでなんとも華やかなラブだね、レンタロウ。特に彼女なんて実にセクシーだ。だが男だ。
Now after this, Okabe goes upstairs and has a talk with Kurusu, explains why he calls him Christina, and then Maho comes in, just grabs his phone and says like, Kurusu's dead, get over him, bruh. And I kind of like that too. It doesn't happen like that in the visual novel, but it's still cool. You see the little flashback of Maho at Kurusu's funeral, which was really impressive. And you also have Okabe's flashback and then him screaming and the episode ends. Now I want to talk about Amade's Kurusu real quickly because in the anime they use a 3D model or a CGI Kurusu to show that she is actually created and she's not a person, and I like that because in the visual novel she's actually supposed to be a 3D model. However, I don't think they should change between 2D animation and 3D animation with Kurisu. If she's a 3D model, keep her a 3D model, because I've noticed how scenes where it's zoomed in on her or where you see her from up close, that it changes into a 2D animation instead of the 3D model of Kurisu. Now, if you want to have her as a 3D model, keep her as a 3D model. I don't like the switch. Not a big fan of the 3D model actually, but it's still good in my opinion. So yeah, there's a lot of things that they changed in the structure again, and we have a lot of stuff that they left out, and also a lot of stuff they actually added in this time. For example, when Mighty calls from May Queen and she's talking with Feris, you don't really see that in the visual novel. That's all new stuff, and I like that. That was everything I wanted to talk about for this episode. I'm really excited for episode 4 now. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you after episode 4. El Psy Akonguru.